Here I have Tippy. She is coming to visit Dan. Dan is an unproven buck. Tippy is a well-proven doe, probably about a little over a year old. I've gotten a few litters out of her. Great mom, great litters. She consistently gives me litters of around 10 or 11. You know, she's just a fantastic doe, so I think she's a good pairing to put with a young and unproven buck who doesn't really know what he's doing. So we'll see how this breeding goes. And if he doesn't get the job done, I will put her in with Winston down below so that I can get some kits on the way. He should get the job done if Dan here doesn't. Tippy's a California New Zealand cross. She's one of my meat mutts, which a lot of people will say meat mutts are awesome for meat, but not for keeping for breeding stock. I have to say, with her performance record and the kits that she throws, the grow-outs we get out of her, I have to disagree. She's been a solid performer, better than even some of the really money rabbits that I've put money into, purebreds and whatnot. So she is a cross, a New Zealand and Californian cross, and he is a pure Californian. I love the Californian temperament, their bone to meat ratio. They're just a really nice rabbit to keep, and I've especially enjoyed having them crossed up with the New Zealand. It's been a really good cross for me. You know, she appears ready. We'll see. Not sure that he knows what's going on, which, you know, 6-7 months is a little bit, not necessarily on the young side, but it does sometimes take them a bit to get things figured out. So we'll just see how it goes. And like I said, if it doesn't, she'll go down in with Winston and we'll see how that goes there. And if you saw down below, that looked like a good fall off where he kind of grabbed and stopped and actually fell off. The fall off is really different from them getting off. You know, it's actually, you know, there's a pause. He falls off to the side. He's not as dramatic as some bucks are. Some bucks will scream. Some bucks will really make a big show of it. Winston doesn't tend to do that. So I have to kind of keep an eye if I want to see his fall offs because he's not necessarily as obvious as everybody else. But he does do a good job. And I've gotten quite a few kits out of him. So that is the second time that I've seen a fall off with him down there with Dandelion. So I will be marking her as bred, and I will do a count and treat her as if she is bred. I will count. The calendar will get marked today. I'll start a record. 28 days from now, I'll put a nest box in and we'll see if there's any nesting activity, and I would expect kits around day 32. Mine have been consistently day 31, 32, giving birth on their litters. I won't give up on her until day 35. Some people would wait as long as day 40, which is fine. Kind of depends on what I've got going on. Typically, I'll be rebreeding if I think it's been a miss somewhere between 35 and 40 days, just because, again, I'm trying to keep things going here. In the rabbitry, trying to get back after we had a big harvest and I didn't breed through the summer, just to give them a break and to, you know, not have issues with heat and things like that. And the summer's been a busy time for us too, so I like to give a little bit of a break there if I can, and then ramp things back up in the fall when my life's calmed down and it's cooler and nicer for them. You might notice in my videos, there's frequently the cat and the dog are coming through the rabbitry. I've kind of made a judgment call to let them in when I'm in here cleaning and whatever, just because of our setup, the openness of the barn and whatnot. It's not really reasonable for me to think that they're never going to get in here. So I'd really rather the rabbits just kind of get used to them and not get freaked out when they're around, as opposed to never letting them in here, and then on, you know, the odd chance when they do get in here, the rabbits being scared and stressed and nervous. So that's, different people have different opinions, do different things. What you decide to do is up to you. You know, I take into consideration things like the other people who are around, the traffic that's in and out of my barn. I leave the door open for additional airflow and ventilation. You know, obviously I've got the windows, so that's great airflow, but the door helps really keep air flowing and circulating. So, you know, I just would rather them know that they're around and they can't get to them. They're not going to hurt them, things like that, and it works out. Seems like everybody's going to take a little bit of a break to sort things out, so I'm going to stop the video here and I'm going to go about my cleaning and feeding, keeping an eye on these while I'm here. And then pretty soon I will take Dandelion out of that bottom cage, and I probably will put Tippy in there, down there with Winston, just to make sure that she's bred to somebody. I'm not necessarily picky, but I will mark on the calendar that she was exposed to both bucks, so that in the future, if I am considering keeping things for breeding or whatever, I will know that, you know, I can't really guarantee the parentage of those kits, because it could have been, eggs could have been fertilized from either of those two bucks if she's exposed to both of them. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to do that. But my goal today is kits for grow outs, meat on the table. My focus is not so much on breeding stock for today. I can go about that a little more later in the winter, in a couple of months when I breed again. So for now, I'll go get my things done and hope these guys get their things done.